Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group. And today we have a new person that I met through one of my teammates, John Carlos. And for the audience, John Carlos, 1968, held his fist up with the black glove. And Carlos called me, told me that one of his friends and somebody that's significant in Black history was coming to Wichita for a book signing, and that we needed to have him on the show. And I told Doc, I said, Doc, I can't pronounce your name and so forth. So when the show starts, we're gonna go like, who do we have here?
I got you.
Go ahead. Tell our audience a little bit about who you are, pronounce your name properly, and give a little audience about a little history on yourself.
My name is Arif Khatib, and I was born in Arkansas. And I've done probably 2,000 different things that's involved with entrepreneurship, history, athletics, etc. But I'm primarily known for the last 2 decades and a half for the establishment of the African American Ethnic Sports Hall of Fame, which became the Multi-Ethnic Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. We at that time began to induct athletes no matter their race. Up until that point, it was exclusive for African American, Indigenous people, and Hispanic Americans. And so I've written 5 books. I've completed a documentary. I've owned a record label. I've been a boxing promoter. I've done numerous things. My concentration right now is to disseminate the content of our book and our film because of the gross inequities and racism in America today.
So you said you've done 5 books. Can you elaborate on that? Give the audience the names of some of the books and things that you've done.
Only one of the books is still in print. I did 3 books on business. I came from business and I taught business. And I taught at the University of California Industrial Relations and labor management. So it's been pretty much tied to business. In the beginning, the first 2 books, because it was needed at that time, still needed today in many instances, Black folks had bad credit, including me, when I wrote the book. I discovered how to circumvent the normal channels for reestablishing your credit. So the first 2 books I wrote was on that subject. Then I wrote a book called Don't Bank on It, telling Black folks the importance of not putting your money in the bank and investing it yourself. And that was basically that you give them the money to save, and I would tell them what they did with your money and how much they paid you to use your money. So I said, don't bank on it. The next book after that, 1979 or 1980, was called A Woman's Ticket to Understanding Football. Women was going to the football games at that time at about 37%. But they didn't understand the game, most of them. They went because of their boyfriend, a significant other, their father, brother, uncle. But they didn't really understand the game, but they loved the activity, as they told me. So I wrote a book, A Woman's Ticket to Understand Football. And that was in print for about 8 or 10 years. And ironically, right now, is being considered by a group out of Maryland called Women Like Sports Too. So I'm giving them an opportunity to redo that book. The next and most recent book that's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble right now that's really receiving a lot of rave reviews. It has been recently accepted by several academic institutions since the book came out in January. Among them is Arkansas Baptist College, which is on this week as the book as the primary text for the U.S. history class. Taught by Professor Davis, who had me to come to Little Rock and speak on July the 30th, and to screen our film at the university to the 55-member football team and the coach and the athletic director. That book is also in the library here in Oakland. It is going to be reviewed next Friday by two junior colleges at the University of Washington. So we're looking to move it into the academic community, and that's really not where I started with that book, but it's going over on its own leg because of the content and because of the timing. Timing is everything. Right now, systemic racism is the top of the mind. I had a meeting this morning with the chief of police with the wealthiest city in the state of America. In America. I read this morning. They're talking about diversity. They asked me to come over and speak and do a screening of the film. So timing is everything. And consequently, the book is now being reviewed and read widely. So one last thing, since you said, tell me what I do. I do a lot of things. We screened our film, our documentary that I've been working on for 10 years. In July here in Oakland, California at the Grand Lake Theater. It's called Because They Believed. The book is in the Shadow of Obscurity, has 23 subjects in it, speaking going back to the late 1800s forward in all sporting disciplines. Some of it came from a magazine that I published during that time. The film has 16 subjects. Among them is Dr. John Collis, who's one of 16. They talk about racism that they personally experienced since 1940. You mentioned earlier, Dr. Harry Edwards. Harry closes out the film. There are some people in this film, as in the book, and I will guarantee if anybody if somebody said, I didn't know this, you got the book free. There are people in this book that people have never heard of, and that's the purpose, that's the idea. We have one of the first, there were 3 women who played in the Negro League. We feature each of them in this book. One in particular, Mamie Johnson, because she was the first and only pitcher. We talk about the Native American who won the 10,000 meters in 1964 at the Olympics, and nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was. When he won, all the press would run up to him and say, who are you? Who are you? And they denied him shoes to wear. And we talk about that in this film. He's a very good friend of mine today and has been for a long time.
He's a BB.
Hall of Fame. His name is Billy Mills.
Oh, Billy? Yeah.
Billy Mills.
I thought it was a BB Bakila, but he's not from here running with no shoes.
No. Another.
Billy Mills is a great story.
European shoe provider for the Olympics then gave him his shoes. The United States did not give him any shoes. So we talk about that. And I found him in his home. He showed me the shoes that he won the race with. He's been a friend for a long time. As I indicated, he's also in my Hall of Fame. 80% of the people that I talk about in the book and in the film, are in my Hall of Fame. So I know them personally. I was able to ask them questions, and they felt comfortable enough to answer my questions. I wanted to raw. I didn't want all of this stuff about it, being a regular journalist and beating around the curve. I said, give me all of it. I'm from Arkansas. I'm Black. I want to know it all. I've went through what you haven't been through because I was born in Arkansas during the height of racism. So give me the facts. And if there aren't the facts, I'll know. And I got the facts, brother. I got some stuff up in this film as well as in this book.
So what's the name of the book?
In the Shadow of Obscurity. Toiling in a Reluctant Society is the subtitle. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Or you can get it from the publisher, ENH Publishing.
You was telling me when I was trying to see what we were going to bring this conversation under about criminal justice.
Social justice.
Social justice.
Yeah, social justice. Because we touch up on that in the book, as well as in the film, for that matter.
But I'm talking about now in your personal life, and that's what are you doing in social justice besides just the book per se? What's your feeling on America? What's your feeling on Black America and the ability for Black America to receive social justice?
I'd like to localize it to begin with and start with what I said. I had to be called for a meeting this morning with the chief of police, with the fifth wealthiest city in America, to talk to them about diversity, to talk to them about social justice as they so-called provide their justice. In this city that I'm speaking of now, there are 92 Blacks and 9,000 total population. The city is called Tiburon, Tiburon, folks. Google that. It's in Marin County, which is the fourth wealthiest in America. And just Google that. You'll find out what I'm talking about. Well, I met with the chief of this morning, so to get close to your question, my job, as I view it, in my days on this earth, left, whatever they are, years, not days, years, is to bring about as much justice as I can between the oppressor and the African Americans and other minorities. As we move forward in this, today in America, we have a real problem. We have a real problem with the social justice, and it's primarily because, not exclusive, but primarily because white folks don't understand. Some of them are racist, straight up racist. They do understand. There are others who don't understand.
Let me say this and cut you off for a minute.
Yeah.
I feel white people might not understand, but Black people are the worst enemy. That's me. That when you have the inability to wake up and understand what system that we're living in, what our leadership, the national leadership and your local leadership, what they're doing, we're in a construct that we haven't constructed, and we're going along with a system that basically is built for failure. It's built to kill our aspirations. It's built to, and I guess John had you contact me because we have this platform. And when you ingest in the main media 24/7, ever since you came out your mother's womb, and even John or myself, you think that you all the way Black, unless you like a heavy thinker like Frantz Fanon or some of that Harriet, you a lot of times you are your worst enemy because you still have come up in a European, Eurocentric point of view in every part of your life because they have controlled the narrative. And even when you think that you talking Black to a certain degree, I'm saying you've been brought up in an environment that is structured for you.
But we don't have to stay in that environment, and I'm not in it. Trust me on that one.
No, you're not. But I'm. What our network is more about doing things that are scalable for our community and that are duplicatable.
I'll tell you, the most impactful thing that we can have on our community that you can do is to get our folks to vote. Politics control everything. I'm not talking about driving a car, walking down here to catch the bus. It controls everything. But
we understand that. But politics, yeah. But let me interject this. Politics are run by money, and the bottom line is economics is running everything, and the people with the economics run politics. They run the corporate community. The corporate community is the instrument that they use to run politics. But at the end of the day, where the tide meets the road, it's about economics.
Absolutely.
All right. So if that's the case, what I tell people, you think that you flipped Georgia in this last election or whatever. You didn't flip Georgia. Stacey Abrams and all the things you think you did, even when Obama won, we got him in. No, you didn't get him in. If you've heard of anything called, they have all these, what's the name networks, used to give you the surveys on who's watching what. Anyway, they say Black people are the most influential people for advertisement on the planet. And I have deduced the only two things that move the needle in anything is money or numbers. Either you have numbers or you have money. So the Nielsen ratings is what I was trying to pull up. All right, so Black people think they did this. The people with the money, they bought the advertisement that motivated you to get out and vote. That's why when you came up and I came up, I think you're a little older than me. I'm 70, because John is older than me. And it costs you maybe 5-10 million at the max to run for president. It costs you $1 billion. Where's all that money on advertisement? Right. Media changes the attitudes, and media really, at this point, Europeans took over all forms of media since the 7th century. So you're only a product of what the environment that they've painted you in. They painted God on the Sistine Chapel as white. That has a profound implication across generation after generation after generation on how man sees himself and his relationship and all of that. And we've been excluded. You talk about being, doing the history museums and all of that. The deeper they dig, everything that they see, Columbus, all of this, America, every Black man was here before anybody. And as I say to most of the people I come in contact with that are of different persuasion, all of you people are African, whether you white, Black, yellow, or whatever. Man walked out of Africa, and that's the science, and that's the end of the story. Anything else is something that you have constructed and man has constructed, but every man on this planet is African.
You know, I want to back up a little bit here. You mentioned Georgia. I live in California, and so I had no impact or influence at all in Georgia, except for the people I knew down there. I encouraged them to vote. I believe in vote. I believe in thinking globally and acting locally. I live in California, and I'm here for a reason, because it is just who you know, Black folks, who you know is important. And
that's your currency in life.
I make sure here that I know key people. The governor, I don't care about the lieutenant governor, the governor, the chief of police of my city, the mayor of my city, the senator that covers me, the assemblyman, and the congressperson, all the way down to the school board. Education is the key. So you've got to get an education, number one. And number two, you have to apply that education strategically so that it benefits you and your community and your family and your friends. So think globally, but act locally. I act locally. I attend meetings. I'm part of the NAACP here. Maybe, I know you guys have heard about it. You may have heard about it by now. Last Saturday, we had a press conference at the NAACP because there's a story out. It's been out for a while now, a national story of this white woman being lost to Petite or something in Wyoming, and they found her. She got all the news across America for 10 days. And then there are numerous people of color who were lost, but you don't hear anything about them.
Well, hold it. Because you just met me, yeah. Did you probably, and this is the problem. We had a press release Friday. Cascade Media Group, we designed a new app on our worldwide that you could go and press missing persons, and anyone that's missing only of color in the United States, you could put that information in, the picture and the information, and it would go into our database. As we check that out, then we put it online.
That's a tremendous contribution, brother. I applaud you for that. I wish we'd known that last Saturday.
Yeah, but see, the whole thing, what I'm saying to you, when you don't have your own media platform that your people are going to on a daily basis?
Absolutely.
I'm saying, like you said, you know the mayor, you know this one and know that one. All right, here, we produce 35 shows. There's not a politician, a school board member, a superintendent, or any of them that haven't been on our shows. All right, so let's look at the ministry, right?
Right.
Ministers. No, all the top church ministers, this and that. Hey, how about telling your congregation this Sunday, everybody bring their phone in so that we can have you go to your Black network. And for you that don't know how, we got ushers in the aisle that will and like those channels. And every time an interview comes up, it's gonna ding you, and you're gonna be able to make better decisions when you're looking at the business shows, the educational shows, the poetry, or whatever. Do you think any of them want to do that? Mm-mm.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, and so when you were talking that, I'm more on our community, and by interviewing these HBCU presidents, when I give them my hypothesis of what the situation is, that the basic Black community in the United States is on a welfare footing, a nonprofit, everything is nonprofit. And when you have your hand out, that means you have to drink the Kool-Aid that Master's giving you. Yeah. And they give you the Kool-Aid, but they're not satisfied with you just drinking it. They require you to give it to your community. And the information that is coming from major sources, and anyone that's woke in America know you can't believe anything that you see on TV. You can't believe anything that corporate communities say. We live in a switch and bait society. And so having your own media like our company that is giving you and having frank conversations like this to make you think, that's dangerous. And nobody's going to support that. Even your Black liberals, they don't want to stand next to a Minister Farrakhan.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the things you're saying. I'm going to show you. You ever heard of the squeaky wheel gets the oil?
Yeah, squeaky wheel gets the grease in my neck of the woods. You country, I already told you that.
Yeah, whichever one it is. But get that. We look at the squeaky wheel and grease it. This press conference, back up again for this press conference. Yes, it was to the white community, but it was to Fox Television, specifically to Fox Television, because they put a white anchor person on the news here in the Bay Area, Fox Network. They suspended him because he wanted to tag his line of news with the fact that they were missing people of color. So the white news director put him on suspension. Well, the NAACP and we had a press conference this Saturday at the station, and we told people to boycott this station, shut it down, shut them down across America. And then before you do that, suspend the woman who suspended him. So,
but how did that go?
Oh, well, I got a call from Houston, Texas. I got a call from the Washington Post. So we know the news was out there. It got out there. So you want to know what are the results of that meeting with the station? Far too early to tell. We have another meeting. We have another meeting this Saturday.
Tell me this. Hold it. Let me say this. This is how I see Black people do. They meet and stuff with these people. At the end of the day, we did a press release on that. That should have been national news.
Absolutely. It is national news.
No, I'm saying on us creating that missing person.
But it was national news. It shouldn't be part of your national news. Now, what do we expect the results of this to be? We expect TV stations across America, which is generally run by white people.
They own 100% of all forms of media.
Well, there are very few Blacks in the administration and the station that help determine what goes on the air.
At the end of the day, listen, man, you see, you're getting like some of the people that I don't have on my, I'm not making no excuses for them. They run the freaking world. They control all the networks.
Activity generates activity. If you want to
Yeah,
make
and so they're projecting an image that the whole world follows. Be like Mike, buy Nike, buy some Chiefs, buy some Cowboys. The world's going up in flames. They're putting people, at the end of the day, you go home to relax, people falling in slime, game shows, but the whole planet's going up, and that's what is going on. Hold it. And you got all these elected officials. Oh, you don't think they see what's going on?
You mentioned Obama earlier. You remember what Obama said? You are the change that you desire.
Yeah.
So we have to be the change. It is us who make the change. Don't rely on anybody to make change.
Hold it. Hold it. Aren't we on a black network right now?
That's the change I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about.
But what we really should be, and we are doing that, we're talking about the people that we're reaching. They are the ones. You and I don't have a problem with it. We know we've got you care enough to be on this show. I care enough to be interviewed. To run the show.
And you can talk in your home.
We need your viewers and your listeners to become proactive in their own local community.
But that's hard for them, Doc. That's hard for them when they're tuned into the major media.
Or if they don't have the information.
Yeah, right. Because, if they don't know, like I said, when we did our press release, just like they were talking about that white girl that's been missing, that should have been reiterated, and that should have been on all the channels, and it should have the day after. Hey, this is a network. They're doing this. This is an all-black network. But that hasn't happened. We got some write-ups and what have you, but that was big news.
But brother, we just have to be more proactive as African Americans.
Well,
you talked about the church. That should have been in every pulpit. Every pulpit. The black church has more influence than any group.
No, let me say this. The black church is waning. I had discussions with some young people. You go to our network last night. Because they are not meeting the needs of the current generation. They haven't been in some time. The NAACP, the Urban League, and all of those groups are necessary, but they are not active the way they need to be. The litmus test for me, stand next to Farrakhan, because now you know that your donors, the liberals and what have you, they're not going to fund you. So that means that you really can't speak in your voice, because your voice is, I'm in solidarity with this man. I know he's for black people. I don't have to be a Muslim. I don't have to believe in all the rhetoric, and I won't even say his stuff is rhetoric. But I know that Farrakhan is for black people, but he's not accepted by white people. And so if you accept him, then I'm not going to accept you, and you're not going to get funding. And they've had us under that type of control for some time. And we have to wake up, and we have to speak truth to ourselves. Hell with truth to power. Truth between one another as black people, that where we really stand. And they have us in this financial lockdown because there are a lot of black people that might be in position to do different things, and they don't do it because they're worried about what their white counterpart is going to think. And that might shut them out of some economic opportunities, or that might cause a schism in their relationship. And most people that are conscious, they know going forward in the 2021 century, if you don't have a job, that's a death sentence. And when I say that middle class status, or be able to have a cable, pay some bills, have a car, that's a death sentence. And they're not going to do anything to upset the status quo, whether they're working for the post office, school board, or anything, because they know that any conversation that they have could potentially be construed as anti-establishment, and they're not having that. We got to let you go.
Well, I want to comment briefly on the Farrakhan. I'm a Farrakhan supporter, and I'm not a Muslim. I believe in individualism. I believe in one taking care of themselves. And again, gaining knowledge. Knowledge is power. So take care of yourself, because Farrakhan's going to take care of himself and his people. Our people need to just become more involved in our community, one person at a time. But you won't be able to do that without the education. So get an education, whatever you choose to do, whatever you choose to do, just be the best of it and dedicate yourself to that. And that's what I like to leave with you. That's what I really
have. Well, in closing, as we always say, yeah, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
Absolutely. And your family and your friends and your environment.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.